There's a lot of things that pro bowlers just straight up do better than you. And if you want to take your games to the next level, here's 9 things that pro bowlers do that you don't. Number 1, their rev rate's just higher than yours by a lot. For those of you who don't know, rev rate is the amount of times that their ball spins while it's on the lane. Higher rev rate allows you to play a little deeper inside the lane, allows you to hook the ball a little more, and create a little better entry angle to the pocket to get maybe 1 or 2 more strikes a game. It also allows you to throw the ball harder and still get your ball to read the right part of the lane. So the harder you can throw it, with the more rev rate you can throw it, usually equals the most pin action down lane if you're matched up with the right ball motion. The reason that their rev rate is so much higher than you, a combination of form and timing, which pros have down to a T. The biggest thing that they do to get their rev rate higher is they get their hand in the right position, which would be a little inside the ball. As well as very underneath the bowling ball. And then on top of that, their game is well timed where they can create the maximum amount of power when they release the ball at the foul line. Almost all of them have rev rates above the 400 mark, and a lot of the top guys have rev rates above the 450 mark. And some, like EJ or Belmo or Jesper Svensson, have rev rates above the 500 mark. Number 2, pros are just more accurate. They make more high quality shots, and their bad shots are a whole lot closer than yours. On average, your general pro that makes TV might make 1 to 2 bad shots a game, and that's when they miss by like a board or maybe a board and a half. That's a really high ratio of good shots to bad shots. I'm not telling you to try and make your best shot better. I'm trying to tell you to make your best shot just more often. You can even just make your bad shot a little bit better. Pros generate this accuracy. It's a combination of good physical form as well as good timing and rhythm, and a ridiculous amount of practice, which brings us to point number 3. If you guys are liking some of these tips and you want a little more in-depth discussion of how you can accomplish some of these things on your own, Darren Tang and I have partnered up for howtobowl.com, where we give in-depth tutorials and lessons on how you guys can improve your game. So go head on over to howtobowl.com, and we have a discount right here, so you can get it for cheap right now off this video, howtobowl.com, to improve your game. Pros might just practice a little more than you. Professional bowlers who do it for a living, that's their job. Their job is to practice, get better, and improve their skill, versatility, their shot making, improve all of those skills. Out of the 365 days a year, I would say I'm in the bowling center 325 of them. I might take off 1 day a week, and every other day I'm either in the center practicing or bowling a tournament. Getting those repetitions and practicing that often, obviously it's gonna make you sharper, more accurate, it's gonna make you a better bowler. What I'm telling you is if you guys wanna get better, you just have to go to the bowling alley maybe an extra once a week and just practice. If you wanna get way better, practice more. And if you wanna become a pro, you have to practice every day. There's no getting around it. Multiple times a day, every day. And it is hard work. Number 4, something that I learned at Wichita State. If you're gonna spend a ton of hours in the bowling center, you have to practice with a purpose. I used to write it down on a calendar. Now I just track it by game. Whatever type of practice I'm going for, maybe I'm practicing a new shape or I'm throwing a new ball and I'm trying to discover out what that does. I'm practicing with a purpose. I'm not just going and throwing shots. I'm either working on my form, I'm working on some ball motion, or I'm not bowling. I always have a plan before a ball is ever thrown. If you're going to try and get better, what I want you guys to do is show up with a plan to work on something, whether it's physical or something on the lanes. Work on something while you're there and write it down on a sheet. Say, hey, okay, I'm gonna throw 10 shots where I shoot spares only, then I'm gonna throw my next 10 shots where I work on staying balanced at the line, then my next 10 shots, I'm gonna work on throwing it a little harder, and then maybe my last 10 shots of practice, I'm gonna try and put it all together. Very, very similar to going to the gym with a workout plan. Tip number 5, pro bowlers are very versatile. Most of you guys out there, you do one thing pretty well and that's pretty much it. But a pro bowler can throw it really hard, they can throw it really slow, they can release the ball different ways, which allows them to bowl well every time they go and bowl. Or it makes their bad bowling a whole lot better than yours. I like to break it down to a bunch of different categories. Speed is the first one. Pro bowlers can throw it really fast. They can also throw it really slow.
His last toss.
Norm's going to show you a little versatility by moving.
They can get really steep and hook the whole lane. Or they can play right up the outside and they're comfortable doing both.
Troop looks for the front 4. 44-pin lead.
Next category, rotation. They can get a lot of rotation on the ball.
Watch what his fingers do right here. They're going to go to the left. That's ridiculous. Don't try that at home. And what happens when you do that? Well, it creates rotation like this.
However, they can also roll it pretty far up the back. Next, we have loft. So pro bowlers generally can lay it down really smooth onto the lane. They can also loft it really far out onto the lane and launch it down there when the lanes are really hooking.
Pounds the wood, pounds the pins.
Fifth and final, we have bowling balls. They have a really good knowledge of their arsenal and they're not afraid to change bowling balls multiple times a game to find the right one. Which leads us into category number 6, equipment. Professional bowlers just know their equipment. They know their bowling balls, how each bowling ball can match up to every pattern, when to switch to what bowling balls. A pro bowler usually brings like 15 to 25 balls during one tournament, just for one tournament. And they have to know exactly where each ball fits. That way they can throw it at the right time. I encourage all of you out there to get a 3 to 6 ball arsenal, bring them to practice and throw all of them. Know which balls do what, why they might work when they're going to work, and just the differences between the ball. That way, if the lanes are hooking, you know what ball to throw. If they're a little oily, you know which ball to switch to. All of these things will help you guys average a higher pinfall in league and bowl better at tournaments. If you guys have a really good night in league, take notes of what bowling ball you threw and why you think it worked. It's more important on why you think it worked than what ball you threw, because that ball might not work next week. But if you have notes on why, then you might be able to switch to the correct bowling ball. I encourage you to do the same thing if you bowl bad. Was it hooking too early? Was it not hooking enough? Find out which balls hook more, hook less, hook more down lane, or hook more up front. That way you can switch and adjust to each scenario.
That's good advice.
Number 7, they have knowledge of the lanes. Which patterns do what? From short patterns, long patterns, medium patterns, high volume, low volume, wood lanes, synthetic lanes. They know how to bowl on all of them, and they know how to adjust their game to strike on every pattern. If you guys want to improve your game, I highly encourage you get off the house pattern and see if your house or if any of the houses around you have sport shots and set out sport shots on the lane, because that is one of the best ways to try and adjust your game, do different things on the lane, and practice being more accurate is bowling on the sport shots. I also encourage you guys to bowl at different centers. If you go and bowl at one center all the time, that's awesome. But try and go and find another center maybe to practice at once a month, maybe once a week. Different centers all play different, whether they have the same lane surface or different lane surface, they all play a little differently. No two centers are the same. What you do naturally at your home center so well might not work at all at a different center near you. It's gonna force you out of your comfort zone and get you to learn new things. These last 2 are the most important things that I could tell you, and people just breeze over it like it's nothing. Spares, 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 spares. Shoot your spares when you practice. Spend a whole game shooting only spares. Usually at your bowling alley, they charge per game. If you shoot a game of only spares, you probably won't strike, which means you'll get twice the amount of shots as opposed to a 10, 11, or 12 shots during a game. So you'll almost get double for your money. Practice 7 pins, 10 pins, 3 6-10s, 2 4-7s, washouts. Practice all of them, because you're gonna shoot them all when you bowl, so you might as well practice all of them. You make one more spare game, that's immediately 10 more pins. Sparing is the easiest way to raise your average and bowl better no matter what the condition is. The harder the condition gets, the more important spares are. You guys might be thinking that they miss a lot on TV. Oh.
3 opens.
Oh my. Single pin spare, misses it! He missed it!
However, you see the percentages in the bottom left corner of your TV screen, 95 or 96% on 10 pins. That's 1 out of every 20 that they'll miss. I challenge you guys to go shoot 20 10 pins and see how many you can make. Part of that missing on TV, there's a lot more pressure on TV. Stakes are a lot higher. However, they still make them most of the time. Number 9, we do have a bonus tip. Pro bowlers just straight up compete more than you. Pro bowlers bowl so many tournaments every year. They've experienced so many different patterns, so many different situations. Something about competing just makes you better. You going out and bowling and losing and losing and losing and maybe finishing last teaches you some of the most valuable lessons there are. But you can't go and learn those lessons if you don't go and experience those things and compete and learn all of those things that come with bowling bad. Losing will make you so much better because you will have so much that you have learned and that you know you need to go home and practice. Guys, go out, bowl your local sweepers, your city tournament, your state tournament, a small Friday night action thing with your friends, whatever it is, just go out, bowl, and compete because it will make you better. Bonus tip, working out. A lot of the new pros and the new superstars you see, they're fit, they work out, they're in shape, and it helps them sustain those long weekends of bowling, not only physically, but mentally. Fitness, not only will it improve your bowling, it'll improve your entire life. So go out, work out, get a gym membership, or just go on a long walk every day. Do something to stay active. And those are my 9 tips that pro bowlers do that you probably don't.